I just got finished watching this week's Hack 5 on YouTube, and Darren and Shannon were going over how to mount file systems remotely using Fuse and SSH. And they did two segments. Darren did the first one on using Linux and doing it from the command line, and then Shannon showed how to do it in Windows using a $40 program, which to me is just ridiculous, but whatever floats your boat. But one of the things that Shannon said she liked about the Windows one was that it was a GUI interface. And I'm going to show you today that you can do it very simply in Linux using your file manager. It's built into most file managers. I'm going to be using Nautilus here, but I know this also works in Thunar. I'm sure it probably works in Conqueror and other file managers as well in Linux. And all you have to do is open up your file manager, Nautilus here, and then you have up here your location. If you hit Control L, it will turn into a location bar, and then you can type in where you want to go. And you can type in SSH :/ and the IP address or domain name of the machine you want to go to. You can also type in SFTP. Both do the same thing. You can also type in here if you have a particular username you want to log in under. In this case, I'll say Jen, because we're going to be logging into my wife's computer here. And when you hit enter, it'll ask you if it's your first time logging in, if you want to, save the key, and we'll say log in anyway here. And it did not ask me for a password in this case because I've already logged in and set it to save the password. Normally at that point though, it would pop up a box asking for your password, and then it will ask you whether you want to save this password till you log out, forever, or just temporarily. The three options basically like that. Once you're in, you can go to whatever folder you'd like. And let's say I wanted to create a shortcut to this folder on her server. I can just take that and drag it down here. And normally you can drag it down there. There we go. And then you can also rename it. So I can rename it instead of just media. I can say media on Jen. And then you can click on that at any time and go to it. If you've saved the password, it'll automatically log in. If not, it will ask you for the password. But it's that simple. I'll remove that now. Also, you can do things like I have my Pogo plug running here. I can click there, and it brings me to my media folder where I have both my hard drive and my wife's hard drive. But you also notice that once you're logged in, they also show up here as SFTP servers, so you can see which ones you're logged in, and if you want to unmount them, just click the unmount button. Also, if for some reason you have your server running on a port other than 22, you can say colon and type in whatever port you have that server running on. So it's that simple, built right into, like I said, most file browsers in Linux. And that way you can mount drives and folders on remote systems. You can create shortcuts over here. They're mounted up here. They're actually, if you go into your home folder, once they're mounted and show hidden files, there's a file or a folder called .gv. I'm in my home folder, right? .gv SFS, and in there it will have, well, I'm on my wife's computer in this folder. If I was on my system, let me go back here and go to that folder, GVFSS, you can see they're mounted there. So you can also get to them from the command line just by going to that folder without having to do anything once you've mounted them in the GUI. So I just wanted to show that. I know a lot of my viewers probably already knew that, but maybe some of you didn't. A lot of people think that if you're going to use Linux, you're going to have to use the command line. That's not really true. It's just usually easier to do stuff from the command line, but almost, I'm not going to say everything, but almost anything that can be done from the command line, there's usually a way to do it in the GUI interface. It's just most people don't explain that when they're telling someone how to do something, because it's easier to say, type this or copy and paste this into the command line rather than say, okay, go to your menu, go to this folder, open up this file, click on file, go down to preferences, go over to the tab that says this. On there you'll see a button of this. It's just easier to type stuff in the command line. It's a lot more efficient, a lot more faster. So it's a common misconception that things in Linux there's things you can't do without the command line, and I'm sure there are a few things, but I can't think of any. If it can be done from the command line, anyone can make a GUI interface for it. So unless no one has a need to make a GUI interface for it, there should be a GUI interface for it. So I hope that you found this tutorial useful, and I hope you visit my website, filmsbychris.com. That's Chris with a K. And I hope that you have a great day.